Decision sandwich. This one's called decision sandwich. It's almost lunchtime, so this one is starting to make me hungry. The decision sandwich is basically about decision making and recognizing not just the decision itself, but what surrounds the decision. In front of and behind the decision is discussion. And this is the critical part. This is one that I failed in so many times because I've forgotten one of the pieces of bread and just went right for the decision and missed out on some successful decisions because of that. So many times we put our energy and focus and concentration on what is the right decision and delivering the right decision, making the right decision, and fail to realize the discussion around it is oftentimes just as important. So the discussion before a decision is to bring in anyone who this decision will affect, or at least some representatives of everyone this decision will affect, and hear their thoughts on it. Share in the discussion ahead of time, share with them, hey, I'm going to make a decision here. We need to make a decision on a certain topic, and I'd like your input. And gather input. Ask a few very open-ended questions and let people respond. It's even better if you can take some notes or let them respond in writing so you can genuinely hear their opinion and wisdom on the decision. Let them know in that first discussion not what decision you will make. Don't let them know that, because that just tells them the discussion was pointless. You already have a decision. You just brought us in to tell us. Don't tell them what decision you make, because you don't know yet. You want to listen to their wisdom. But tell them how the decision will be made and who will make the decision. So in that meeting, you can say something like, I'd really like your input on this idea. We're thinking about launching an extra worship service on the weekends, and I know this will affect a lot of people. It'll affect the band. It'll affect the nursery workers. It'll affect the kids ministry. It'll affect the parking lot greeters and attendants. It'll affect the minister who's speaking. It's a big decision. I'd like to get your input. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. I'm going to hear it out, and then I want you to know I'm going to make the decision, but I want to hear your thoughts on it. I'll make it, and then I'll share it with you in a certain time. That lets them know ahead of time, hey, he's going to make the decision, but I get to be a part of that. That really builds not only trust, but it builds group wisdom. Then when you make the decision, you deliver it, but you reference some of the discussion from the previous time. You say, hey, so-and-so said this, which was really helpful. Even if you didn't agree with that insight and you made a different decision, you can reference it and let them know, hey, this was a good thought, this was respectful, here's why we're making this decision, here's why I've chosen this one. And then what we often fail to realize too is once any decision is made that has weight or importance, there's a follow-up discussion. So sometimes this means now we've got to get these same group of people together and say, here's what we're doing, let's figure out how to do it, let's anticipate some of the consequences, or let's build on some of the momentum we have with this decision. And sometimes that can go really well. Other times you'll have unwanted discussion at the end where somebody doesn't like the decision, and usually they'll feel free to lodge this in some form of complaint. And so if we anticipate ahead of time, for every major decision, there will be some people that come back to us afterwards and want to have a follow-up discussion. Now this is great because this helps us personalize the decision. Some people are really upset by something and they get a chance to discuss that with you. You can explain why the decision was made, and sometimes it's simply a matter of reinforcing the decision. Saying, listen, thank you for this discussion. I appreciate what you've said. I care about your opinion. This decision is going to stand, but I want you to know I'll help you implement it however we can. Decision sandwich. Discussion on both ends goes a long way.